Hello everyone. I hope all of you would be fine and enjoying good health. Well, I welcome you on this second day of the Practice to Pass session for March 2022. Yesterday we discussed what is audit risk, what are the three types of audit risk, how audit risk is examined by the examiner, what are the two formats with regards to exam technique and exam requirement, and how to design the audit response. So all these techniques and methods were discussed yesterday. I'm hopeful that they would be of great use to all of you. But these are some of the basic points. You must improvise them. You must use your own judgment and your own smartness in the application of these techniques at examination level. So today our topic of discussion is the control systems. Normally the examiner asks about control system in the second question in a series of long questions. It is a mandatory area and it is regularly assessed by the examiner. Normally this area is a little weak. Normally students don't have extensively worked in that area. Students have gone through the chapter. They have read the material, sales cycle, purchase cycles. They have attempted some of the questions, but after attempting 2 to 3 questions, students recognize that these are sort of generic questions. Students think, not all students, but some of the students who are not going to pass the paper, they might think that this is a generic area. Just read the question, read the data from the question, and just give or produce some of the test of controls that may be relevant or they may not be relevant. But students think that they can score good marks by repeating this technique again and again. Now, actually, this is not the case. These questions are also very technical, just like the audit risk. So you need to understand some basic factors, some basic elements on the basis of which you are going to prepare yourself for the exam in coming March session in 2022. Now, first of all students must need to understand that book reading is very important. Now, whenever you are going to follow a shortcut, that shortcut will not lead to that success of a person or success of a person who has scored good marks like 70 marks, 75 marks, 78 marks. So that typical student must have gone through the longest route, the difficult route. Now the most difficult route will lead towards the highest portion of the peak where there is enormous and the beautifulest scene. You can see that view through a trail that is very hard to achieve. Now, similarly, if you want to achieve good marks in audit and you want to grasp and you want to revise the control systems, then you need to take the toughest route. That toughest route will not only give you high motivation and high score in long questions, but also it will help you to get rid of the difficulty that is faced by normally students in OTs, in short questions. Now, what is the route that you must follow? So, to start with, you must understand that there are these 6 control systems prevailing at every organization. These systems like sales system, purchase system, non-current asset systems, payroll systems, inventory systems, and cash systems. Now they are important, and the data and the input to those systems and how those systems proceed and how those systems end, what are the documentation at every stage of these systems are already mentioned in your books, whether you are using Kaplan, whether you are using BVP, or you are using any other resource. Every book or resource will contain the basics of these systems. Now, some of the systems are favorites of the examiner, like sales system, purchase system, payroll system. These 3 systems are among the most favorite systems of the examiners that are usually asked by the examiner. Also, the inventory system is also used, but inventory system is mixed with the substantive procedures. Now, these 3 systems like sales system, purchase system, and payroll system. These 3 systems are nowadays what examiner is doing. He is mixing these 3 systems. Like what he is doing, the first portion of a question will be from sales system, and the last portion of the question will be from cash receipt system, or the first portion will be from payroll system, and the last portion of the question will be from cash payment system. So what examiner is doing, he is mixing different cycles. So you need to have good extensive practice to get good marks in that area. Now, how do you or how can we achieve this objective? Now, the route to this objective is first of all, open your resources, open your books, and learn the sales system, learn the purchase system, and understand what is payroll system and what are the steps of these systems, and what are the objectives and risk of every stage of that system. So unless you are aware of the stages and objectives of these stages, you cannot understand the control system question. Then what will you be doing? You will be just writing a generic answer to every option without understanding the core idea that why examiner has asked something from you. So you should be in good motivation and in good understanding to be competitive in the exam. Now let's say an example. In a sales system, you can see there are the 5 stages. First stage is ordering system, second is dispatch, third is invoiced, fourth is recording, and the fifth one is cash received. Now these are the 5 stages. Now first of all, the most important thing is that what are the objectives of the ordering system? The objectives of the ordering systems are goods are only supplied to customers who pay promptly and in full, and all orders are processed. These are the 2 objectives at this level. There may be some other objectives, but for example, we have taken these 2 objectives. Now, goods are only supplied to customers who pay promptly and in full. Now, before going into control system, we were discussing audit risk, and there we discussed that auditor is mostly concerned about the audit risk, and he is not concerned about the business risk. But according to ISA 265, auditor has an additional responsibility that he must communicate control deficiencies and recommendations to the management and persons charged with governance. So if we are going to identify some risk and we are going to communicate to management and persons charged with governance, so these managements and persons charged with governance will not be concerned with the audit risk. Audit risk is not their concern, audit risk is not their matter. They are interested in the business risk of the organizations, because business risk are the obstacles in achieving the objectives of the organizations, and management's targets are linked with objectives. So if they can somehow manage these objective risks, they can achieve the objectives and consequently they can get bonuses. So they are concerned about the objectives and business risk of the organization. Now we are going to identify the business risk and we are going to communicate them that these are some of the business risks that you must consider. You must identify and assess them, and you must make suitable strategies to mitigate the effects of those risks. Now this is our objective here. So except for the recording stage, rest of the stages like ordering, dispatch, invoice, and cash received, all these stages are covering the business risk for which management and persons charged with governance are mostly concerned. Now, where are the risks? Now, if you are reading this objective, like goods are only supplied to customers who pay promptly and in full, there is a risk hidden in it. So can you guys identify what is the risk? Now, this is the objective. Goods should only be supplied to those customers who can pay promptly and in full. Now, this is the objective. So there must be some risk hidden behind this objective. So let me give you an example. Now the risk, what would be the risk? Risk would be that goods are supplied to those customers who cannot pay promptly or who cannot pay in full. Now this is the risk. Opposite to that objective is the risk. So if goods are supplied to customers like that who don't have money, who can't pay immediately, or who cannot pay within the limit, within the credit limit that is given to them, what will happen? This property or this inventory that has been sold to these customers, we cannot get the cash against them. So it will be a loss for us. We cannot, not only we are going to recover the cost of this inventory and the process that we have undertaken, but also we are not going to get the profit that was our objective. Now once again we will lose our objective. Now it's a crucial thing for organization and management to identify the areas where the cost or the profit of the organization is leaking. So they want to identify. This is basically the responsibility of management, but the external auditor is helping them out to identify the main risks that are available there. This is the responsibility of ISA 265. Now, being audited, we need to have a good knowledge of the control systems. Not only we need to have the understanding and we should memorize these objectives, but we should also be able to identify the hidden risk behind that objective. Now, this is a dual strategy. As an auditor, we have a dual strategy when we are dealing with control systems. When we will test the objectives or the control system of the organizations, we can identify certain control deficiencies which would be communicated at the end of audit to the person charged with governance and to the management. And also we are going, or we will be able to evaluate the control risk in that organization. So we studied in last class that according to ISA 315, we as an auditor has a responsibility to identify and assess the risk of material misstatement. So what was risk of material misstatement we discussed last day? Risk of material misstatement is inherent risk and control risk. Now, by going through the sales system of the organization and by communicating the risk in the business and communication or disclosure of these risks to management, Not only we have fulfilled our responsibility according to ISA 265, but also we are now able to assess the control system of the organization. So it's a two-way factor. It's a dual story for external auditor, and it is a win-win situation for auditor if he is able to identify the control system weaknesses. Now, as this is very important for the auditor, so same is the case with examiner, and examiner is asking students to identify and communicate these matters, businesses matters to the examiner. Now, how can we as a student be able to identify those business risks? Now, if you have not understood these stages and you are not aware of the objectives, then you cannot identify the risk. Now, what is the risk? Not achieving the objective is the risk. Anything which will not help company to achieve objectives will be considered as risk. Now, if you have not memorized the objectives, that what are the objectives of this stage? Now, this is ordering stage, and the objective is all orders are processed. Now, this is the objective. What would be the risk? The risk is that some of the orders may be missed. So if orders are missed, we had inventory, we had processes, we had distribution channels, supply channel, everything. We have tangible and intangible resources to provide these goods to our customer. But what happened during our ordering process? Someone missed that order. So if a company miss 5 orders daily, what will happen? After 365 days, they would have missed thousands of orders, hundreds of orders. So this is not a good story for the organization. This would not be a going concern condition for the organization. The company need to identify the leakage in the systems of the organization and should be coming with a new strategy. So being auditor, we need to identify the risk behind it. Orders are dispatched promptly and in full in correct customers. So if orders are sent to wrong customers, so these customers will not give us money, and we are working hard and hard 24/7 for this cash and for this money which is our return. All orders are dispatched. So if some orders are missed, once again customer will not get the required goods, and he will say that this company is not or have never given me my goods at the right time. So why I am going to order next time to this company? I will go to the competitor of this organization. So once again, it will create a reputation risk for the organization. Consequently, a decrease in the revenue and decrease in the profit. So objectives will not be achieved. So that is how you need to understand the risk and objectives of every stage of not only sales system but also purchase system and the non-current asset control objectives, and likewise payroll system, inventory system. These are some the supplementary controls and test of controls. They are also written in your notebooks, in your resources, whatever resources you are using. But the main point is that you must be aware of these objectives, and also you must have understanding of the background risk, the risk due to which these objectives are made. Now, if you are aware of the risk and objective till now, then you can easily understand how to write test of controls and how to write control deficiencies. But if you are not aware of the underlying risk and the objectives of all these 5 or 6 cycles, then first of all, you need to go back to your resources, open your books, read these objectives and risk first, understand them and memorize them, and then come back and practice these questions that we are going to offer. So this is important. You should be following first step, because first step is first. So then you are going to take the second step, and the second step is to attempt some important questions, some tricky questions, so you can understand the behavior and the style and the methodology of the exam. Now, as an example, if I assume that you have gone through your resources and you are aware of the important areas like sales system, purchase system. So let's move towards our first question, today's first question, that is Tinkerbell. Now this is a question where you can see this is the requirement. Recommend 6 test of controls the auditor would normally carry out on the sales system of Tinkerbell and explain the objectives of the each test. Now, what examiner require from you is that there are certain control systems provided by the examiner. Already they are written in the data. If you read all these paragraphs, you will see there are certain control systems that are operating effectively. Now, what is your requirement here? You are not going to go for the deficiency or control deficiency area. What you are going to do, you are going to find out the test of controls for these control system. Now, what is test of controls? Test of controls are like procedures where we are going to test the control system. Being auditor, our objective is to test the control system. Now let's start as an example. What is a control system and how auditor can test that? Like this paragraph. If you read this paragraph, you can see each customer has a unique customer account number. Each customer has a unique customer account number, and this is used to enter sales orders when they are received in writing from customers. Now this is a control system. Now how this is a control system? Now you need to understand the logic and the argument behind this control system. Now, why customers are given a unique customer account number? What is the reason behind it? If you can link this information with the objective or with the risk of the sales system, then you can easily identify, not only you can easily identify the test of controls, but you can also, if it is required, you can give control deficiencies if required by the examiner. Now the reason behind is that we studied in sales system that goods are only supplied to customers who pay promptly and in full. Now there are certain means and there are certain industry norms across different organizations where they achieve these objectives by their own methodology. Some of the organization, what they do, they, as the customers are repetitive, they come again and again and they purchase products or services from this organization. So what they do, they register a customer. The customer who can pay in full or in prompt, they register this customer and they give them, every customer, a unique code number. And this unique code number is a symbol that this customer is a registered customer and we have checked this customer, he can pay in full and he is a reliable customer with, with which we can engage in a number of dealings or contracts. So this is the purpose of this unique customer account. Now that is how this control system is fulfilling the objective of that stage. So if you cannot link the reason of this control system with the objectives or the stages or the risk of these stages of the sales system, this means that you are weak in theoretical area. You need to go back to sales system. You need to understand them and then you will come back and you will attempt these questions again. So if you are able to understand the reason behind this and the link of that data with the required risk and objective, then now we are going to understand how we are going to write the test of control. Now this is used to enter sales order when they are received in writing from the customers. So objective, what is the objective? Now what has been asked for us? Explain the objective of each test. So what is the objective of this control system? If we write the objective of this control system first and then we write the test of control, it will be easy for us because we can see the objective and we can easily apply test of control on that objective. So how can we do that? Let's have an example. Now this is our objective where we are going to write objective, and in the next column we are going to write test of control. Now what is the objective of this control system? Now the objective is that to confirm that only valid customers orders are processed or accepted. Now how this company is validating this thing? They have registered their valid customers and they have provided them unique customer numbers. So the objective is very clear that if we are going to order a sales order for a customer who is not registered, whose valid number is not registered in the system will not respond. Now this is the strength of this control system. If the control system is strong, we cannot bypass this control system and we cannot enter a sales order for a customer who is not registered with us. Now how can we confirm that? So we will need to once again need to confirm that each customer, as we know that each customer has a unique customer account number and this is used to enter sales order. So we will do opposite to that. What they do, they enter that specific unique customer account number and they start ordering for this customer. Now what we will do opposite to that and we will apply CAT. So what are CAT? CATs are the computer assisted audit technique. So for example, place an order for a fake customer number. Place an order for a fake customer number in the system, of course, and confirm that system rejects that order. Now this is how you can easily write the test of control. Now test of control in this case will be exactly opposite to what control system the organization is doing, that is prevailing in the organization. So you need to check that what is happening in the organization. If the system rejects any order in which the specific customer orders and their details are not provided, they should not process this. This is likewise when we call to our mobile phone customer center or our bank call center and we ask them to open our debit card or credit card for the payment. And they ask us for the details, some privacy or sensitive details that are necessary to activate this area. Okay, so there was some disturbance, so I had to go there. Okay, so let's resume from where we just now place an order for a fake customer's number and confirm that system rejects that order. So as the bank service system or call centers ask us for different questions like what is your father's name, what is your address that is written in the system, or kindly tell us the last transaction that you performed. So the reason for this check system is to confirm that you are a valid customer or not. So same is the case here that this system should not accept any fake customer orders number and he should ask us for some passwords or for some confirmation, and also this system should not accept any customer number that is not already entered in the system. So this is the required test of control system, and this is how we are going to get whether this system is breakable or the system is soundproof. If the system is strong, if the system is soundproof, that system is not going to enter us in the system with a fake customer. So this is the reason and this is why we need to perform this. Now, if we go back to our next line, and if we read that the orders are entered that the orders are entered by an order clerk and the system automatically checks that goods are available and that order will not take the customer over their limit. Now once again, this is an easy part. You can see this is another strong control system of the organization. Now there are three steps in this control system. First of all, orders are entered by the order clerk. The second thing, system automatically checks the goods are available. Now, for all the orders that are entered by the clerk, there are two checks. There are two control systems. First, system automatically checks whether the inventory is available or not. And second thing, that whether this order will take customer over their credit limit or not. Now, these are, you can say, are the two control systems. And what are the objectives? Now, first of all, if we write the concerned objectives, what are objective of this control system? The objective is to ensure that orders should be placed for the level of inventory available. So if we are going to accept an order for which the level of inventory is not available, so what we are going to do? After taking order from customers, we are going to call them back and we are going to tell them that sorry, we don't have the required inventory and we cannot arrange that. So please, you can take your order back and you can call some other guy. Now this will create a bad reputation. If you had a control system, or if you could have managed or saved his time, you could have tell him on the time of placement of the order that sorry we don't have inventory. Now you have wasted the time of customer. You should have told him at that time when he was there to come, he was there for order. So this is an important thing, that your systems must be updated and they should not manipulate, or they should not get you in a position that is awkward for you in the eyes of customer. So this is the objective. So how we are going to confirm, how we are going to test this control system? Now this is a claim by the organization. The organization is claiming that this is our control system. The orders are entered by the order clerk and systems automatically checks that goods are available. For this type of control system, same kind of test of control will be applied as we applied in above unique customer account number objective. What we did there, we entered a fake unique customer number to confirm whether the system accepts this or rejects it. Now here, what we are going to do, we are going to enter an order that is above the level of inventory level, or above, that will take this customer above their credit limit, and then we will see what system do. So what should system do? Let's write place an order, place an order for a level which will take customer above his credit limit or exceed the inventory level. Now, when we have placed this specific order, what should this system do? So this system should reject, this system should flag this order, and the system should highlight that the information entered is not suitable. This is like same if you enter wrong password in your Gmail account. What should Gmail account do? They should reject the entry in your Gmail account. They should ask again that kindly repeat the password. Now once again, if we have entered an order, this system should stop us and should reject further processing of this order, because this order is taking this man, this customer above his limit, and we know that if we are going to sell the goods to this customer above his credit limit, what is credit limit? Credit limit is the level under which he can pay. Now, if we are going to sell goods above this limit, there is a fair chance that this customer will not be able to pay back because we have sell him the goods over his credit limit. Now, this is a risk. So what should system do? System should reconcile this order with the customer's credit limit and should reconcile and tally the level, inventory level, and then if both things are okay, then this order should be processed. Otherwise, this order should be rejected. So what should be the answer of this system? Place an order for a level which will take customer above his credit limit or exceed the inventory level. System should reject this order. So if this order is successfully rejected by the system, this means that system is working strong, system is there, system is working efficiently, and any order cannot be entered which is a risk for the organization, because system itself is sustainable and self-governed, and it can operate, and it has artificial intelligence to identify valid customers and valid orders. So this is the rule. Now this is how you are going to understand whether the company is working correctly or not. So how to write test of controls? This is one way. What you should do, you should order like in valid customers order or like in the inventory level issue, you should order that is not or that is opposite to the control system that is provided in the information, like in these two cases. Now let's move to second type of test of control which can be asked by the examiner in certain cases. Now this is the data. If you read this data, for new customers, a sales manager completes a credit application and this is checked through a credit agency and a credit limit entered into the system by the credit controller. Now this is the system that has been claimed by the organization. Now first of all, we need to understand that what is the objective behind this control system, where a new customer, what is happening, a sales manager completes a credit application and this is checked by this application. This is checked through a credit agency and a credit limit entered into the system by the credit controller. So the reason behind this is that goods should only be supplied to the customers who have an acceptable level of credit limit or credit ranking. So as we discussed earlier, that different industries have different methodology and different styles of checking credit limits. So sometimes they ask for your bank statement, sometimes they ask your parent company's systems, and sometimes what they ask, they want to verify your credit ranking from a third party. Now what this organization has done, they have hired or they have outsourced a credit agency which will tell the limit. But when credit agency will tell, when a new customer comes and sale manager completes a credit application, this credit application is sent to credit agency and this credit agency gives returns this credit application, and in this credit application the credit ranking is entered, but the same sales manager is not going to enter it because it will lack the segregation of duty. So who is going to enter this credit limit? This credit limit is entered by a senior person, that is credit controller. So what is the objective? Now let's write, first of all we need to write the objective of this control system. To confirm that goods are only supplied to good credit ranking customers. So our objective is to confirm that goods are only supplied to good ranking customers or to the customers who have an acceptable credit ranking. So this is our objective here. Now how we are going to confirm? Now this is not, or here the case is different from the above test of controls where we just entered a different order from where we can confirm whether system is working or operating effectively or not. Now in this system, in this control system, three stages are involved. Sales manager completes a credit application, checked through credit agency, entered by credit controller. So you can start writing test of control from the end. So what is the end of this process? There are three sub processes to this one process. You can see if I write here. First process is the credit application sent by the sales manager. This is first sub process. Second process, credit agency gives ranking, and the third process is limit entered by credit controller. Now, you can start from the end of process or you can start from the start of process. Now, this is your option. You can use both types of test of controls. Now, how can you write? If you write, if you write a test of control in which you are going to write from the start of this process. Now the start of the process is credit application. So you will start like inspect sample of credit applications for new customers and ensure that same credit ranking is entered as provided by credit agency. So the credit applications that were prepared by sales manager and they were returned by credit agency and they were entered by the credit controller. So what we will do, we will get that credit application for the new customers. We will see the ranking, the limit that is written by credit agency, and we will open the system. In the system, who has entered that ranking? Credit controller. So what we are going to do, we are going to tally the system with the credit application. So what should be same? The limit, the credit agency limit should be same. So by doing this, by reconciling this process, we can confirm that each sub process was doing effectively or not. So this is how we can start from this style. Now this style is where we engage a sort of forward test of control, where we write a test of control in a linear way from process 1 to process 3. Now there is another way where you can write a reverse test of control. A reverse test of control means that you start from system where the credit controller entered the ranking and then you tally it with the credit application, which was of course sent to credit agency and credit agency entered a ranking on it. So these are the both ways, forward test of control or reverse test of control. You can choose each of or any of them. Both can fulfill the objective of writing the test of control. So both are okay in context to examiner's point of view. You just should select a way which is more suitable, which is more clear to examiner, and the way which is more easy for you. So both are easy. So that is how you are going to write the test of control. Now let's move to another example. Now you can see this is another data that is written in sales ordering system. The company has a price list which is updated twice a year. Now this is a piece of data, this is piece of information that is provided, and it is an important control system that the company has a price list and every customer is priced on the basis of this price list. Now, what is the risk? The risk is that we have sold a product or commodity to customer and we have not used the updated price. So this is the risk. So what will happen if company has increased the price from $5 to $6 and we are still charging $5, then there is a loss of $1 to company. This is a business risk for the organization and company is not going to get the objective and they will lose the money that was $1. Now, what should be done? This objective should be checked. Now, how we are going to check this? First of all, we need to consider what is the required test of control or objective against it. Now, the objective is to confirm that goods are sold on updated price. So if the goods are not sold on updated prices, then there will be a loss for the organization. Company is not going to get the required revenue. Ultimately, the profit will decrease. So how we are going to test it? Now, here in this data, we are going to write a sort of generic test of control. And this is very much easy. We need to, on a sample basis, we need to identify some invoices where we sold some goods to customers and we should reconcile it with the price of that commodity at that level of the year. If the same price is used, then we can say that the system of the organization is strong, and if old price is charged to that customer, this means that system is not working effectively. So how can we test this test of control? Now let's say an example for a sample of invoices. What should we do? Reconcile the price of invoice with the current price list. Now, for example, there are 1000 invoices entered in the system. So from these 1000 invoices, we are going to select 100 invoices, some from January, some from March, some invoices from May. And what we are going to do, we are going to get the price list for these months. So, of course, we can see that these updated prices, if they are updated twice a year or quarterly in a year, so we will get the current or updated price list and we will tell you and we will confirm that correct price has been charged to customer that is written on the price list. So if the price on the invoice and is same as the price list, this means that system is working and system is strong. And if there is a loophole, there is a weakness, then what will happen? Invoice will have quoted $5 and price list would show like $3 or $7. So in both the cases, it is a loss to the organization. And this control system and this test of control can identify whether this claim of the organization is valid, whether this system is working or not, and whether this system is achieving the objective of the control system or not. So this is how you can easily write test of controls, multiple test of controls. And this is once again an easy approach through which you can write different sets of test of controls. Now let's move to another control systems strength like this one. Large customers are entitled to a discount and this is agreed by the sales director and set up within the customer master file. Now this is a control system. This is a control system, an important element of the control system, and we are going to write a test of control in it. And I'm hopeful that now you guys would be able to write a simple test of control for that. And after giving or recommending the test of control, I am going to take some of your questions on the test of controls. So after this test of control, which I am going to provide you, I am going to go to a questions and answer area, and whatever questions you are asking regarding this test of control and sales system and any issue related to this and how to write these test of controls, I'm going to take your questions and I'm going to answer them. So now let's go back to our main point. Now large customers are entitled to a discount. This is agreed by the sales director and set up within the customer master file. So what is the reason? What is the control objective? So control objective is that the discounts should be given to customers for the amount which is authorized, and we know that sales director authorize. So ensure that authorized discount is given to customers. Now this is our objective. Now how can we confirm this objective that only authorized discount? So if customer A is authorized for 10% discount, only 10% discount should be given to him for whole year. If there is a customer S and he is authorized for 20% discount, he should not be given more than 20% discount for whole year. So we must obtain on the sample basis, we must see some of the invoices of the large customers, and we should see what level of discount is provided to them, and we must tally it with the master file. As we can see, this is customer master file, and the system or this step starts with customer's order. So large customer orders means invoice. So this process is starting from invoice and this process is ending at customer master file. So if we apply forward test of control, a style of forward test of control, we will start from invoice of large customers and we will end at customer master file. So let's try to write a test of control. Inspect a sample of large customer invoices and tally them and reconcile the discount level with the customer master file. Now this is how you can write a test of control easily. We started with the first step of the process, large customer invoices. You can see large customers invoices, and we ended at customer master file. This is customer master file. So we have followed the same pattern of the examiner and we have written a test of control, and we can easily score good marks by repeating this type of strategy in test of controls. So We could have used backward test of control as well, where we could have started from customer master file and we could have ended our test of control at large customer device. So it doesn't matter whatever method you follow, but the important thing is that you must be able to link it with the control objective. You must be aware of the background risk involved in it, and you must have basic skills to write these test of controls. These test of controls are easy to write, but the students normally don't have practiced it. They just think that we will write some random thoughts over the test of controls. Now this will not earn you good marks. If you want to earn good score, you need to be very systematic. You must have 2 to 3 basic skills, and you can improvise these skills, further improvise these skills under exam conditions. So this is important, and you should be skillful and you should be practicing these things before exam. You must apply these skills in different questions. Then you can say that you can handle these questions easily. Now we will move to questioning answering session to understand what are your questions regarding test of controls and the ideas that we have just discussed. You can ask any question, and after questioning answering session we will take a 15 minutes break, and then we will proceed towards next question, that is control deficiency question, and we will discuss further upon how the control deficiency question can be tackled. Now let's move to your questions. Okay, so Prasad is asking goods sold to supplier who cannot pay. Yes, you're right. This is objective. Arslan Hamid is asking about a group. Okay, please provide link for the recording. Hamid Ahmed is saying, yes, there are links available and you will be provided these links. Don't worry about that. If customer is new, they will no have unique number, but they will be given unique number. Will objective remain same for this too? Shao Sam, as we read the question data, according to the data and according to the movement and pattern of the data, we will move ourselves. Now, the way you are saying the thing is, you can see that here you can see in this paragraph, first line was regarding the customer's account number. Now, this was the customer who was the old customer. For new customer, this data was provided. So this data shows how a new customer is entered and his credit agency ranking is required or asked by an outside party, and this is entered by credit controller. So this is how this new customer is entertained. So this information is provided after the old customer's data. and we have discussed the test of control regarding this. Hopefully, this would have covered your question. Yes, Mufaddal, you can get yesterday's handouts. They are available and you can get them easily. Danish is asking, repeat internet issue. Danish, you can get recordings of this area. Well, we have discussed 5 to 6 test of controls and we have discussed how to write these test of controls. So there are certain styles of writing test of controls, like if there is a system based sales system, then you can enter a fake invoice which will exceed from the level of inventory level or customer credit ranking, and that system should reject this further processing of that order. There are certain styles of test of controls in which the control system that is provided to us has different sub processes, like we discussed in this data, where you could see that the sales manager enters the order, it is reconciled with credit agency output, and it is entered by credit control. Now, these types of control systems can be checked against different sorts of test of control, and forward or backward test of controls can be applied, either starting from the first process or starting from the last process. You can go to other way. Now, these are some of the ways through which you can apply test of controls. So Umar is asking for third point related to credit limit. Can this be valid objective to reduce the chances of a bad debt? Now, this is not a valid objective to reduce the bad debt. It could be an objective, but it is a secondary objective. Let me show you, Umar, here. Now you can see at the level of cash received, this is a bad debt issue, and revenue is recorded, period sales recorded accurately, and related receivables recorded at an appropriate value. Now the thing that you are discussing is related to recording stage and cash received stage. So at this level, ordering level and dispatch level, our objectives are different. Yes, they are matching. If the ordering system is strong, then yes, bad debt will reduce. But bad debt is not dependent on ordering stage only. So it is dependent on different other items as well. And this is tackled at a level of cash received and recording the entry. And there may be a case that we accepted an order of a customer and who had a good reputation regarding the credit ranking, but after giving them or selling them the product, they had going concern issues and now they cannot pay back. So it the going concern issues or cash position of the organization changes with the time. So it cannot be regarded as this issue. So you should follow or memorize these clear stated objectives that are written in your resources, whatever resource you are using, that is important. Okay, Isha is asking that risks were hard, but these are very simple. Yes, Isha, these are simple, and with the practice, you can easily write them. I agree. And Adil is asking, do downloadable handouts contain answers you are writing? I am taking screenshots, though. No, they don't contain the answers I am writing on the screen, so you can get these recorded webinars and you can see them, or you can follow your own process like taking screenshots. Okay, so Adil is asking for a break. Yes, yes, I am taking this in consideration. We will take a break at 5. So 20 minutes are remaining. So let's discuss some other questions from the students. We will take a break after 20 minutes. Yes, Prasad, handout links are provided. Harsha, Rajesh, you can get yesterday's handouts. So I'm hopeful that ACCA team will respond to your query and they will. Okay. No, Nishta, still there is no WhatsApp group, but we will see and I will discuss it with the ACCA team whether we can make a WhatsApp group or not. And according to my commitments, we will see that we can manage it or not. We will discuss on it. Okay, Prasad, I will discuss it with ACCA team, and I'm sure you will get the handouts of today's and yesterday's lecture as well. Okay, Prasad, I will discuss it. Yes, Umar, we will take this thing in consideration. Sure. Yes, Shazib. The objectives length is enough, but you can see you have asked an important question, Shazib. Now there are six test of controls and six objectives, and you have 12 marks. And the thing that he has asked is explain the objective. So you can explain these objectives a little bit. You can go in a detail, but the objectives are same. So you can increase a bit more detail in it, like two or one and a half line extra. But these are the basic objectives. Normally they are written as they are. But you can, yes, you can increase them. If you are aware of this basic objective, you can increase it. You can write 3 lines on it. So, but it will have same data or same input. Okay. So Shah Hussain is asking how much should student ideally do practice? Okay, Shah Hussain, and you are asking that is one time kit enough for practice? Now, in my personal opinion, when you go through a question like this question, Tinkerbell, you go through this question. If you go back, this is the question. If you go through this area, what will happen? When you will attempt this question, you will focus only this requirement. You will not focus because I have changed the requirement. There were some extra requirements, requirement B, C as well. But according to my need, I have changed this question according to my needs. Now, what will happen? Student normally just practice this main requirement. Like in audit risk area, he's going to just focus on the part B where audit risks are asked to be evaluated. He's going to ignore part A, part C, part D that had procedures that had impact on audit report or that was a knowledge based question. So he will ignore. So when you are going for a question for the first time, you are going to focus only for the main requirement. But when you go for a question second time and you know that I can write audit risk on a routine level and I am aware of the risk, then you will focus on other requirements as well, like option B, option C, and option D. So I would recommend that you should go through a question twice. If you are going to attempt 5 questions, go twice these questions. Attempt these 5 questions in a row, then start again from question number one. But before going to question number one, you should need to update your knowledge regarding control systems. The reading of book is very, very important. There is no shortcut to success. So please keep this important thing in mind that there is no shortcut to success. You need to follow the route that always is followed by the successful persons. So the book and the kit are your resources. You must not miss any of those. Okay, so Umar is asking a question. So the main thing to keep in mind while writing the answers should be the quality of the answers, not the length or quantity. Yes, Umar, you're right. Actually, in audit, it is all about the quality. Quantity doesn't matter. Only the students who don't have the required knowledge will focus on the quantity. The students who are knowledgeable, who have memorized important things, and who have basic concepts of the audit will not go for the quantity or detailed quantity without seeing the time management and quality. The intelligent student or the smart student will always focus on the quality and the time management. So if he's going to write 3 lines, he's going to embed every idea of his mind into these 3 lines. So he will convert and he will switch his brain from one point to another point, and he is going to write short lines which will cover multi-dimensional points. So always go for multi-dimensional points. Try to write short. Do not try to copy paste more than the required. So do not go further than the requirement. No problem, Nishta, no problem. Okay, Prasad. Done. There's a question asked that is there a summary for each ISA? Yes, there are summaries for each ISA. ISAs are very important. We will discuss these issues of ISAs on our last day of this session. ISAs summaries are of great or crucial importance for us. You don't need to memorize all the elements of ISAs, but you need to have or you should memorize the basic requirement of external auditor in context to every ISA. So this is important. I'm hopeful that you would have read ISAs till now because you have left only some days, 26 days, 25, 26 days before your exam. Your exam is very near. You should be very focused and you should be very clear about the path you are going to follow. This is very important. And if you are not clear on your path, if you don't know the way you are going to review, the way you are going to achieve your audit objectives, like how you are going to read the book and what questions are you are going to attempt for coming 25 days. What is your strategy and what is your methodology? Now this will be a little bit concerning thing from me if you are not clear about the way. So if you are aware of your approach and your way, then it is okay. Now it's just your willpower, your mindset and your effort. If you are aware of your path and your way towards your objective, then just start asking yourself why you are late, why you are not doing something for your objective, what you have done for today, how much time you have wasted for today. So calculate your wasted time so that you can reduce this waste of time day by day, so that you can increase your momentum, your focus, and your concentration. This is very important. So, okay. So now we are going for a short break, and after this short break, we will be back with another question of controlled efficiency, and we will discuss how these type of questions can be discussed. So So see you after 15 minutes short break. So, welcome back, dear students. We are back from a 15 minutes short break. And before going to break, we were discussing some of the important questions from the students. And before that, we were discussing how the test of controls can be formulated for a strong control system. Now, we are going to see another question where we will try to identify the control deficiencies and the recommendations for that. Now, this is a question Greystone. Once again, there is an ordering process, good received and invoicing. Then there is a responsibility related to ISA 265, communicating deficiencies in internal controls to those charged with governance and management. That is a very important ISA, and you should be aware of the basic elements and requirements of this ISA. But for the time being, we are not considering this question. We are basically focusing on this requirement. Explain the examples. This one. As the external auditor of Greystone & Co., write a report to management in respect of the purchasing system, which first of all identifies and explains 4 deficiencies and provide a recommendation to address each of these deficiencies and describe a test of control Greystone's internal audit department could perform to assess whether each of these controls, if implemented, is operating effectively or not. Now there are basically 3 sub requirements in this whole big requirement. First of all, to identify 4 deficiencies, then to provide a recommendation to cover this deficiency, of course. And if this recommendation is implemented, then what test of control would be applied by internal audit department. So let's go back to the data. Now this is the data, and you can see this paragraph. If you read this paragraph, each country has a purchasing manager who decides on the initial inventory levels for each store. Now, this is not done in conjunction with the store or sales managers. These quantities are communicated to central buying department at the head office in Europe, and ordering clerk amalgamates all country orders by specified regions of countries such as Central Europe or North America and passes them to purchasing director to review and authorize. So you can see that there is a certain level of control system that is applied in this organization. There is a sort of segregation of duty that is being designed in this organization, but the data itself is pointing out some of the important control deficiencies. You can see this is not done in conjunction with store or sales manager. So you should understand that this is a big sort of a big multinational organization where they have different points of sales and where they are selling this product to multiple regions, and they are purchasing for multiple areas, and they have many warehouses, they have many stores. So your recommendation and your deficiency should be according to the needs of the industry of the organization. Now the point that is written here is that this is not done in conjunction with the store or sales manager. Now if we go back to purchase system, if we go back to the purchase system, we can see that there are once again 5 stages of the purchase system. And the objectives written are here. You can see that all purchases are made with suppliers who have been checked for quality, reliability, and pricing. Purchases are made for valid business use, and orders are placed taking consideration of delivery, lead times to avoid disruption to the business. So the important thing is that orders must be placed taking consideration of delivery lead times and valid business needs and business use. So this is an important thing. Now, what is happening in gray store? A centralized purchase manager is deciding an initial inventory level, and this purchasing manager who is going to determine that inventory level, and he is doing all this activity on the basis of judgment. He is not taking in consideration the concerns of the related or relevant sales manager or store manager. So this is a deficiency. Now what will happen if if the purchase manager orders a quantity that is over the requirement of that store, then this above level inventory will not be sold in the given time, and it will get obsolete once again, and it will be a loss of the inventory of the organization. The money invested in the inventory will be wasted because the order exceeded the requirement. On the other hand, if order is at below level of the requirement, if purchase manager has ordered below the level of the requirement of that specific store, what will happen? Customer comes and places an order, but we will have to say them sorry. Why? Because we don't have the required level of inventory left to entertain or to fulfill the requirements of the customer. So once again, it will create a reputational damage for us, for our business and for our brand. So this is once again a business risk. Now what we are going to do, this is a control deficiency and we are going to write it. Now, for example, we are going to write control deficiency. Then we are going to write the recommendation, and then we are going to write the test of control that will be applied by the. So what is the control deficiency here? The sales manager or store manager is not consulted. This is the important point. Now we will start writing control deficiency from the data itself. Now what is happening? The purchase manager is not consulting inventory levels with the concerned store manager. Now this is the fact. Now what is the problem? If purchase now what some students do, they just will write this piece of information and they will say that this is the line in which control deficiency is hidden. No, not at all. As a student, and if you want to get 1 mark per deficiency, you need to explain how it is a deficiency. You should not restrict yourself towards the identification. You should also be focusing on how, or explanation of how this is a control deficiency. Now I have identified the line, but I need to discuss it with the examiner that how it is a control deficiency. Now let's say if a purchase manager over order the inventory level, this inventory will get obsolete soon and will be of no use to company. So loss of inventory. Of course, this loss of inventory is a risk for the organization. So if inventory is going to get damaged like that, how they are going to earn the money? On the other hand, if manager, sorry, I should have written under order the inventory level. So if on the other hand, if manager over. Now if on the other hand, if manager under orders the inventory level, what effect it will have? You need to explain the effect. You need to discuss the impact of this on the organization's achievement of objective. So what will happen as we have less inventory available for us? On the other hand, if manager under orders the inventory level, company will not be able to fulfill the orders of customer, causing reduction in revenue and market share. So as you have linked the deficiency with the objectives of the organizations, whether they are primary objectives or secondary objectives, so revenue and market share, the increase in revenue and market share is one of the leading objectives of the organization. Organizations are always working in the good interest of increment in these market share and revenue related indicators. So these are the most important KPIs and critical success factors of an organization. So if due to this weakness in the control system, it is causing or having impact on the market share, reduction in market share revenue, so it will have consequences for the finance sector and sales and marketing sectors as well. So they will not be able to get the bonuses, company will not be able to achieve their targets, and they cannot compete in the market with their competitors. So this is an important businesses. Now, as you have identified and explained to management that what is the control efficiency, now it is your role to recommend a suitable control system for this issue. To prevent the occurrence of this issue, you should recommend some of the controls. Now, how you can improve your recommending power? If you go through different questions of purchase, sales, and payroll, you will get a good idea that how or what is the method to get a strong purchase or control system. Like in the last question in Tinkerbell, where we studied a strong control system, sales system. So next time, if you get a question where there are some deficiencies and you are asked by the management, you are asked by the examiner that the sales system is weak. So how can the ordering system can be improvised? How the sales ordering system can be strengthened? So if you are aware of this line when you studied this question, Tinkerbell, and you are aware that there is a unique customer account number, so you can use this information in other questions that are upcoming questions. You can use this information and you can ask them to create a unique customer account number, and only a customer having a unique account number should be processed. Otherwise, the system should reject it. So this is on this side of this question, you are identifying the important control system and you are writing a test of control related to it. But for the sake of future fulfillment or requirements, you are also capturing an important data that can be used as a recommendation of coming questions. So same is the case when you apply different questions, when you perform 3 questions per purchase cycle, 3 questions for sales cycles, and 3 questions for payroll cycle, you would have enough knowledge and enough practice to write good test of controls and recommendations and identify different control deficiencies. So my recommendation is to minimum attempt 3 questions for each area so that you can easily grasp the level required. Now, how this controlled efficiency be managed at this level of the organization? Now, the issue is that purchase manager is not consulted. Purchase manager is performing all the process by himself and he is not involving the store manager. So recommendation would be to involve store manager in this process. This is the simplest way to do this. Now some of the student might use a different say here. For example, some of the student would recommend that this system is a flaw. So kindly go for a decentralized system. So if you have recommended that stores should purchase their own inventory, then you are on a wrong side of the data. You are not understanding that what is the problem of the organization. So you can see in the past company has bulk ordered its clothing twice a year. However, their goods failed to meet the key fashion trends, and then this resulted in significant inventory write-downs. As a result of this, the company has recently introduced a just-in-time ordering system, so assessment of 9 months in advance. So all this information has been provided to you, and you can see that this system is a centralized system and it is already working on a just-in-time system. So you should not recommend such options that are contradictory to the business model or business model whole business model will be changed. You are going to introduce a minor change through which the problem can be sorted out. So problem was that store manager or sales manager was not involved in the process. So get him involved. The easiest recommendation is to give a recommendation under which the store manager should be involved. So you can write that the purchase manager should be involved in the process of ordering inventory. Now how he can be involved? By meeting with concerned managers or through or taking their opinion through email. Now, this is a recommendation. Whenever you are thinking of a recommendation, keep this important thing in mind that you are also going to write a test of control for that as well in the next column. So write a recommendation for which you can write a test of control as well. Sometimes student write a recommendation and after that he is thinking for 2 minutes about what test of control can be written for this recommendation. So always whenever you are going to think of a recommendation, always think of the test of control as well. So what would be the test of control? If the purchase manager is involved through meeting, there will be minutes of the meetings in which purchase manager signed will be the evidence of his involvement. And if he is involved through email, then as an evidence, his email should be received by this purchase manager. So store manager. The word should be store manager. So store managers signs in minutes of the meeting are the evidence or his email is the evidence that he has been consulted. So that is how we are going to do that. So if we go, we are talking about test of control, so we can apply forward or backward test of control. So let's say for a sample of purchase orders, inspect the minutes of the meetings to confirm that store manager store manager say or store manager has been involved or not. Now this is first test of control. So otherwise you can also inspect emails from store manager related to specific purchase orders to confirm his involvement. Now always try to write in simple language, the language that is easy to you, the tone should be professional, and you should write with easy words that are easy to you. Always start with the starting words should be simple so that you can change your pattern of lines according to your need. So if you have recommended two things, always write two test of controls. If you have recommended one thing, then you can write one test of control. So yes, another thing, if you have two recommendations in your mind, always prioritize. On the other hand, I have, in my opinion, student must think of two recommendations. Always think of two recommendations. Because whenever you think of only one required recommendation, you will go towards an easy one, which is easy to write. But there is a case that the hard one recommendation that is coming to your mind, but it's not clear. So you just say it goodbye that I don't need to think over it because it's an hard one. So you opt a recommendation that is easy one, but that easy option will not earn you good marks. So always my opinion is to always think of two recommendations, then evaluate between these two recommendations and write the best one. Whenever you think of only one recommendation and just suddenly or immediately you write that one option, normally you ignore a very important recommendation through your mindset. So normally mind plays with you. The mind is going to opt the options that are easy in writing, easy in thoughts. So that is a deceiving thing. So do not get into the trap. Always think of two recommendations, then evaluate between the two and write the evaluation that will earn you good marks. Do not go for the easy recommendation. Now, if we go to second point, you can see, now this is the paragraph. If you read this paragraph, as the goods are sold, it is the store manager's responsibility to reorder the goods through the purchasing manager. They are prompted weekly to review inventory levels, as although the goods are just in time, it can still take up to 4 weeks for goods to received in stores. So if they are short of the goods during the year, so it's a responsibility of store manager to order. But what is the deficiency? So deficiency is that it can still take up to 4 weeks. So these 4 weeks, the lead time of 4 weeks is a huge time. It's a month. So a gap of a month is too much for the organization to process. So the customers will not wait for a month. So this is a loophole. This is a lagging, so we need to cover that out. So this is, first of all, we need to identify this deficiency. So let's move to our writing area. First of all, we are going to write the control deficiency. Once again, keep in mind, you are not going to identify only the control deficiency. You are also going to explain the deficiency, that why it is a deficiency, how it is a business risk, how it can prevent the organization in achieving its objective. So if anything that is preventing organization in achieving its objective will be considered as the control deficiency. So store managers are reordering, which can take 4 weeks to be received. Now we have identified the deficiency, but it is not fulfilling the examiner's point of view. We have earned zero point 0.5 marks. If we need to earn complete 1 mark per deficiency, we need to explain it. We are going to explain that how it is a deficiency. So the deficiency is that if we order, or if company order late and 4 weeks lead time can cause stock out. So what happens if we are stock out, means we are out of stock. So if we are out of stock, so we will say no to our customer. Company cannot accept the orders from customer, causing decrease in, or if we accept the order, there will be a delay in transporting the good to customer, because we have not just received, even we have not received the raw material now. So when we will receive after 4 weeks, we will process and we will give to them. So of course, once again, the cancellation of customer orders, so decrease in revenue and reputation. Now, this is the point. This is the control deficiency. So you just should not just focus on identifying the deficiency. You should go in detail. You should further get out of your comfort zone and try to write in detail the effect or the impact of this deficiency towards the organization objectives. What could go wrong? You can link it with revenue, you can link it with reputation, you can link it with the increase in cost or decrease in revenue or decrease in profit. So all these things are important for, or important indicators for the managers, and they would be very much concerned about any upcoming event that can go wrong for the company. Now, as far as the recommendations are concerned, so companies are also following just-in-time system, but the just-in-time system is followed once a year, or it is based on centralized system. So at store level, what should we do? There must be some reorder levels. The issue can be solved, that reorder level should be maintained. It should be established and calculated on the basis of this lead time of 4 weeks, so that if the inventory is reduced to this number of reorder level, immediately purchase order should be seeked, so that when after 4 weeks this inventory is received, we should not be out of stock. So this is the recommendation. So reorder level. Reorder level is the solution should be formulated and used in the system. Now you should also explain how this reorder level should work, like when inventory level reduce or is reduced from predetermined level, purchase manager should raise purchase order. Now this is important that this purchase order should be raised and this inventory should be received before we get stock out or we are out of stock. So if we are receiving inventory before out of stock, then the system is properly working. Now we are going to write the test of control for this recommendation. Now how we are going to write the test of control? So, in the last question in Tinkerbell, where a system would automatically check that the required level inventory is there or not. So, you can do that. We can check that whether the system or there is a prompted reorder level or not, or whether there is a flagging or whether there is an indication from the system towards the purchase manager that now it is the time you should raise a purchase order. So if the system is doing this, then the system is working on our recommendation. And if they are not following the system, still the inventory is going to out and going down, and our system has not identified or flagged anything regarding the purchase order level, then this means that system is weak. Now we can use test data to confirm that inventory levels of a sample of item fall below confirm that inventory levels or inventory level of a sample of item fall below the reorder should be issued. So if you apply test data and we confirm that when an inventory level of a specific element falls below the reorder level, it should highlight and flag that there is a need to reorder this inventory. And we can also inquire with management regarding how reorder levels are calculated, how they are considered, what are the factors that are taken into account, and we can also write a test of control that we should also inspect the complaint registered by the customers regarding the being late, delivery being done late because of not availability of the inventory. So these could also be some of the other test of controls. So we can also make inquiries, we can also discuss these things, and we can also apply multiple test of controls to confirm a recommendation. So always think of multiple recommendations and always think of the test of controls. So this is an easy part. This is not like that tough part. Lekin the issue is that what you guys do, you can miss out the objectives or the risk attached to that data. So you should be aware of the related risk, related objectives, and you should also consider that OTs at this level are not straightforward. So examiner is well aware that you guys have practiced good in every area, but the area where you cannot practice more is OTs. So they have hidden the OTs, so you are not aware of the current trends of the examiner. So that is why you need to read the book and you must be aware of the sales cycle and the purchase cycle of the audits. So let's go towards the last point of this question before going to questioning answering session of related to this control deficiency and test of control area. So let's move to another point where we are going to discuss the next deficiency. Now we can see what is happening, that to speed up the ordering to receipt of the good sales, the goods are delivered directly from supplier to individual stores. On receipt of the goods, the quantities received are checked by the sales assistant against the supplier's delivery note, and then assistant produces a goods received note. This is done at quiet times of the day so as to maximize sales. The checked GRNs are sent to head office for matching with purchase invoices. So if we go back to purchase and goods received, you must be aware that the data written in the exam, which stage is it? Is it related to purchase order? Is it related to recording, receiving, or it is related to cash payment? So you can see that during the paragraph, examiner is having discussion regarding the receiving of the goods. So goods received, you can see only goods ordered by the company are accepted. Now, how can we confirm that we are accepting the goods that we ordered or not? What company is doing, they are issuing goods received note on the basis of supplier's delivery note. So stores are not aware of what we ordered. They just check that what supplier sent and whether the items are complete or not. But they are not linking it with our order. So how they can be aware of what we ordered? So what they should have the purchase order. So a copy of purchase order should be sent at store so that they not only are going to reconcile it with supplier's delivery note, but they should also link it with the purchase order. Now this is the deficiency, and we are going to write goods received are checked against supplier delivery statement rather than purchase order. Now, this is the issue. Now, what is the consequence of that? Company can receive the goods which are not ordered by the company. So this is important. Now, once we have received, this will be very difficult to return these goods. So the process will get lengthy. There will be some handling cost, storage cost, and then these goods will be returned to that supplier, and he will send us the right quantity or right quality of the goods, and it will take a much time, a much lengthy time. It can take 2 days, 5 days, 10 days. So once again, increase in lead time. So what will happen? It will increase our cost, and it will also result in It will increase admin and store cost, means storing cost. We could have stored other important items if these unordered orders have not been received. It will increase admin and store cost, and customer orders will be will get delay, will get delay due to time in returning the order and getting the right goods. So all this process will take time. Consequently, once again, we have to suffer as a reputation, as a financial, and as a non-financial issue. So this is important. These are some of the important control deficiencies we can highlight. So what could be the deficiencies, or what could be the recommendations for these deficiencies and the concerned test of controls? Now, how we are going to write the recommendation? So it is very easy. Every time we receive, you can say GRN, good receive note, should be tallied with the purchase order. Anything not in the purchase order should be sent back immediately. So this is important, and of course a copy of purchase order should be sent to store where delivery is going to take place. So if they don't have the related purchase order, how they are going to confirm that this delivery is okay or according to our needs or not? So that is how we are going to control it. Now, how we are going to test this recommendation? So this is very easy. You can do it by forward test of control, or you can do it by backward test of control. So first of all, you can visit the store to confirm that GRN and purchase orders are matched when goods are received. So this is one of the test of control. Also, inspect on a sample basis. Inspect on a sample basis some GRN and reconcile them with purchase order to confirm that there is nothing missing or nothing extra. So this is how students should focus on writing and using CP practice platform, and also going through different questions and past paper questions. So This is the way, this is the approach that every student should follow. Control deficiency, recommendation, and the test. So this is easy if you try again and again and you practice 3 questions per system, then you can easily uh, identify and explain everything of that. Column way is preferred wherever you are going to write. Always use these columns. You can see there is an option there. You can easily enter the table by your use, by your approach, whatever number of columns, whatever number of rows you want to design there, you can do that. So always use these column or table approach. They will be easy for you. And you should also use CB practice platform so that you are aware of the recent trends and the environment which should be used at this level. So I'm hopeful that you are now aware of the control deficiencies, recommendation, and test of controls. We have seen 2 questions. In first question, we saw sales system and we discussed how test of controls could be applied. And second question, you can see we have discussed the control deficiencies in the purchase system, how in context of purchase system we can identify the control deficiency, how can we write recommendation and test of control. So I'm hopefully, and I'm very much hopeful that you would have understood by now that how to capture the exam's mindset, examiner's mindset, and you can follow this stand and you can easily understand and you can repeat a good answer for these control system questions. So let's move towards question answering session, and whatever questions you have in your mind, just write them in chat box and I will try to answer these questions. Most answers are available in different resources. So these are the answers that I have written. You can take screenshots of that, and you can also get the answers of BVP and Kaplan over that. These questions are from Kaplan BVP kit, so they are easily available. Okay, last test of control. Okay, last you want to see the last test of control. Now this was the Tinkerbell where we linked the control objective and the test of control. This is the test of control, last test of control. You can take picture of that. Okay, so you can write the questions, what is in your mind. You can ask any question regarding audit risk or control systems so that we can discuss that concern you, that pinch you. So it is important to get it out and discuss it before the exam, because in exam it can be damaging for you. Can secondary response or a recommendation will get a credit in live exam? So if you are writing a complete response, you are writing a complete good recommendation. I told you to think of 2 recommendations, evaluate them, and write the best one. So if yes, if you have time, you can write the secondary recommendation or test of control as well. So I would recommend that do write 2 recommendations or 2 test of controls. Yes, they will earn marks, of course. It will not be a waste of time. No, Umar, after question answer session, we will just wind up. Yes, Isha, the language that is used in different cases is a bit typical. Yes, but you can use your own wordings. You can write in your own wording. You should write. Always try to write in your natural style. You should use your natural style. You should not, because sometimes in some countries, yes, English is not the mother language. So yes, you face some difficulty whenever you are thinking of a test of control or recommendation. But with the practice, with the passage of time, you will see that these are ready-made language that is used in test of controls and recommendations. So always be simple, be easy so that you can write it according to, but you should write in a language that is understandable to the examiner. Just this is the point. So don't worry about the grammatical issues or anything. Just write what you have and just write the way you write, the way you think, and simple, as much simple as you think. Yes, Prasad, you can think of two recommendations, and the best one that seems to be hard one, of course. You can write that one. Yes, Ibrahim, you are right. What auditor will do, he is going to select the stores where he will visit the store managers, and when he is on visit to that store, he can see or he can inspect the store managers emails. Yes, you're right. He's not going to visit all the stores, but on a sample basis he'll select some of them. Yes, Umar, tomorrow we will discuss substantive procedures. Inshallah, in tomorrow's session, we are going to discuss substantive procedures, and the day after tomorrow, we are going to discuss very important topics like OTs, audit report, knowledge-based questions. Yes, Ibrahim, if the stores are in different countries, then auditor need to adjust themselves. Yes, they will hire some auditors outside their country, and this will be out of the scope. But for the sake of audit risk, we will say that as the stores are scattered across different countries or spread in different regions of the earth, then we our detection risk will increase automatically, because there is a lot of places where we need to be there for the stock take. So we have an audit risk regarding the quantities in inventory stock take. Yes, this would be a correct judgment. Yes, Isha, 40% or I can say 50% of the paper comes from the book, in my opinion, in the shape of OTs, sometimes knowledge-based questions. So book is very, very crucial. And this is the most important thing, and students are constantly ignoring this fact. So they think that just who can read whole book? Just go through few chapters and just we will tell something, tell a story to examiner. So we can write many lines and we can repeat a point. So examiner has clearly told that he don't like the repetition of the point. So if you are trying to disguise the examiner, he is aware of the fact and he has cleared or clarified many times that he will probe your answer. He's going to read your answer again and again, and he has the marking scheme. If you have written a point again and again, it will not earn you multiple points. It will only earn you 1 mark for a valid reason. So you need to memorize some important things. From this chapter, control systems chapters, you should memorize the sales system, purchase system, payroll system, their objectives and their risk. And you should also memorize some important questions. I'm going to share a file on the fourth day of this session, which has 60 to 64 questions that are hot favorite questions for you guys. So you can just read them and memorize them, and hopefully some of the questions will be examined by the examiner in the coming session. So it will be would be of a great help for you. So go for that file, download that, and yes, for sure, read the book. Read the book, do that effort, and you can score good marks. Reading the book is very important. Reading the book is very, very important. You can increase your power, writing power, by reading the book. So if you are going to read good English, then and only then you will be able to write good English, audit language English. Yes, Usama, you can copy paste the weakness, but you will need to explain that weakness. As we have discussed, that identification of weakness is not enough. You can see in this question, this is the identification area, but the rest of the data from here, if to reputation, is your own discussion regarding the impact of this deficiency. The impact of the deficiency is important. So you are going to explain. Yes, you can copy paste that word from here, but you need to explain the impact, and this should be in your own wordings. Okay, Umar, I will consider it. Sure. So any question if you have in your mind regarding the preparation of this session, control system, you can ask any question. There is another question in the handouts, and its name is Chuck. So you can try it at your home. This is a question of related to control deficiencies. So you can read it and you can apply that trick to recommend a test of control or to highlight and explain the control deficiency. So you can do that. Also in your available kits, there are certain questions. So you should sort them out. You should see what are the questions available for sales system, purchase system, and how many sales process or system questions you have attempted. So you should attempt these questions. Yes, sort of important theory notes. Yes, I will share it on the last day. Uh, the most wanted questions. I will share it on the last day. You can go through that file and it will be helpful for you all. Okay. So Umar is asking that kindly explain the third test of control of the second question. Okay. So this is the second question and this is the third test of control. Now this one. So the deficiency was that good received was not reconciled with the purchase order. So we recommended that a copy of purchase order should be present there, should be sent to warehouse as well, so that they may be able to identify the quantity they ordered and the quality they ordered. So that they should check the goods received with the purchase order and then issue goods received not accordingly. So this was the process that we recommended. As an auditor, we recommended that process. Now what is happening here? How we can confirm that? First of all, we can visit to the warehouse and we can see by our own eyes that what process is being followed, whether the van came and someone just someone just counted the goods and just they picked them up and just they were entered or they were placed at warehouse simply, or there was another man standing there with a list with a purchase order in their hand and counting and checking according to the paper list. If he is doing so, if he is counting everything and he is reconciling it with the paper which is the purchase orders, and then this means that there is a control system in place and that control system is working, and this man would identify any order or quantity that is not ordered by us and he will send that back to the supplier. So this control system is working effectively or not. So there is no document through which we can check. So we can only check by going there to that place, visiting different stores and seeing and considering and physically seeing what is going on, what process is being followed. So this is one of the test of control. This was the first test of control that I asked. And the second test of control was that inspect on a sample basis some GRN and reconcile them with purchase order to confirm that there is nothing missing. So what I meant to say that if the process is there and if the goods are linked with the purchase order, then we will receive only up to the quantity, the goods up to the quantity for which purchase order was issued. So for example, we ordered 15 clothes and we received 20. So what will happen? We will not receive all 20 goods. We will only accept 15 pair of clothes and we will send back 5 extra clothes. So we will issue a goods received note consisting of or entering or accepting 15 items. So we ordered 15 and we received 15. We returned extra 5. So we ordered 15 means purchase order contains 15 and GRN means we received 15. So on GRN or good received note only 15 items will be displayed. So if both the purchase order and GRN are reconciled for a sample of purchase orders, then we can say that the system is working properly. But if we ordered 50 items and we through purchase order and we received 60 items through GRN, then this means that no one is counting at warehouse and no one is considering and taking the purchase order into consideration. So this means that control system is weak. So we on purchase order 100 items are mentioned and on GRN 150 items are recorded. So this means that we ordered 100 items and we received 150 items. So these extra 50 items should have returned and only 100 items should have been written on GRM. So by reconciling it, we can confirm that whether this process has been followed or not. Otherwise, this recommendation has not been followed. It was just waste of time and it was entertained in a dustbin. Okay, test data. The second one, okay, use test data to confirm the inventory levels of a sample item fall below the reorder should be issued. Means that, let's say the reorder level for a product is 50. So the reorder level for an item is 50, for example. And currently in inventory, the system shows 65 items. The reorder level is 50 and currently system shows that we have 65 items. So what we will do, we will place an of order of 20 items. What will happen? We have in system, we have 65 items. When we place an order of 20, the remaining items in the system will be 45. Now 45 is below the reorder level of 50. So immediately the system should warn, or immediately it should generate an email to the purchase manager that you have reached to reorder level and you must issue a reorder requisition or purchase order. So if this system is working, we can see we can place a fake order of 20 items and we will see whether the system generates this point or not. So if the system is not generating and flagging this indication that to the purchase manager that further reorder level has reached and we should issue or we should order the next level, then what will happen? The items will soon, or the warehouse soon will be empty and we will have the system showing zero inventory level and customers are standing and asking for the clothes and we don't have, so it will create a bad reputation. So before going into this, we should be able to do that thing better. So this was the point. So Mufaddal is asking how 4 weeks lead time a control deficiency. 4 weeks means that if you order today, you will get the piece of item after 1 month. Now consider Mufaddal that it's a February and the winter is ending and you order a sweater and you receive it after a month. Now if you receive after a month and you are purchasing this coat or you are purchasing this sweater for a ceremony or for a function of your friend, now this function has passed and you have received that thing after 4 months, sorry, 4 weeks, so it's a month. So after 1 month you can see the trends are changing in fashion industry or in the clothing clothing industry, the fashion and trends change very quickly according to the season, weather, raining items. So all these things are very important. So a month gap is too much. The customer wants to purchase something this week, today or the next day or this week. So after this week the trends of the product will change. So if there is something in trend in demand today and we order it and we receive it after a month, but after a month it will not be in demand by the customer, so customer will be demanding something else, something related to hot or summer season. So this thing will be useless. Customer is not going to purchase this thing after a month. It was in demand today but it will not be in demand in coming month. So that is why it is very important to consider these things, and to add and to try to adjust all these things. And also an important thing is that if it takes a time, if it takes a lot of time, like you can see this 65, and normally per day you get an order of 10 items. So what will happen within coming 20 days? You will not have any inventory in the warehouse, and this 65 will be vanished within 6.5 days or at 6th day. If the order came at the same pace, then these 65 items will end in coming 6 days. So what you will do, if you place an order after 6 days, then it will take 40 days to come back. Now, so it is, or 30 days to receive that inventory. So it is important that you place an order well before the, the emptiness of the warehouse, well before the level at which it will get at zero level. So that is why reorder levels are used. Now there is another question by, okay, no problem, Umar. And there is a question by Ibrahim. For second question, third test of control, sir, what if we write that auditor should visit store and observe the process as they are in line as recommended? Is this procedure is okay as this type of tests are easy to generate? Yes, yes, Ibrahim, these are easy test of controls, and you can generate like these, but these cannot be applied in every scenario. Let's say, let's have an example. Like in this question, in Tinkerbell, where we apply different test of controls, where the order clerk and the company price list and unique customer account, in this whole paragraph we cannot say that auditor should visit the sales system and see whether there are unique customer account number or not. So this type of test of control cannot be applied everywhere. It can only be applied where there is a place, an event is happening, some goods are receiving, someone is doing something, a process is followed, and it is followed for whole year. So you can visit. Yes, the year for which you are going to give opinion on the financial statement has ended, but after that year, now you are there and you are at the client. Now you can check what system has been followed. So if we will estimate that if this system is followed today, then this would be followed in the last year. So obviously it would give us sufficient appropriate evidence if we visit the warehouse. So yes, but important thing is that it is not applicable at every level. So you should not use this visit scenario everywhere. You should be smart enough to see the areas where, or the data where this should be used. So I am hopeful, Ibrahim, this my answer would be very much justified to your question. No problem, Ibrahim. So we are left with some few minutes and then this session will end. So if you have any question, you can ask now. Yes, Ibrahim, I would suggest that you should read the question first and then read the requirements and evaluate the requirements and link it with the data. Means take 2 to 3 minutes before the start of writing. Just take 2.5 minutes and consider what are the options, what is the data, what calculations I can do, and how I am going to format my answer. And then just start writing the answer. So every student cannot meet the requirement of this idea that you have just written that what is the best approach or whether you should read whole question or just start writing after reading the first paragraph. I would suggest that please just before going to any answer anything, just go through the question first so that you would be aware of the scenario and background information of the information of the question that you are dealing with. Yes, there is a question. I don't know the name. This is QH, and the question is explain the difference between substantive procedures for revenue and receivables. Yes, in a directional testing, both are on the edge of a same double entry, like you debit receivable and you credit revenue. But both heads are different in their nature. Their assertions are different. Revenue is an income statement head and or profit and loss head, and receivable is a statement for financial position head, means balance sheet head. So receivable has different assertions. Receivable in the case of substantive testing, in receivable we are going to apply existence, rights and obligation, completeness, valuation, allocation, classification, presentation. So these are the assertions that we are going to apply in receivables. Whereas we are talking about revenue, the most important assertions are occurrence, the cutoff, and classification, presentation, and accuracy. So we have different assertions. Of course, we have different set of procedures for both one. And we know for revenue purposes, we are going to apply IFRS 15, the revenue recognition and the point of time where revenue should be recorded. And for receivables, the most important risk, we know that risk is different for revenue and risk is different for receivables. So why procedures will not differ? Procedures will certainly differ for both. So at revenue level, we identify that revenue recognition is a risk, whereas at receivable, we identify that bad debts would not be written off. So as both heads have different risk, as both heads have different assertions, so we will apply different procedures for both heads. So I am hopeful, QH, that your question would be clear now. And yes, we will discuss these things tomorrow, inshallah. No problem. So we are in the last minute of this session. Any last question? So, okay, dear students, that's all for today, and we discussed control systems today. Tomorrow we are going to discuss the substantive procedures and their techniques. So see you tomorrow. Good night. Stay blessed.